Welcome to OverTime, the podcast. OverTime is a podcast dedicated to all things watches, particularly in the microbrand and affordable range. I'm Praka, and this is my co-host, Justin.
We are two watch enthusiasts based out of Perth, Western Australia. Join us as we discuss our thoughts on new releases, share our personal experiences, and offer our insights on building a collection.
Whether you're a seasoned enthusiast or just starting your journey, OverTime will keep you entertained with informative insights and casual conversations.
Let's get started.
So how's it going, Justin?
Yeah, pretty good. Yourself?
Yeah, pretty good. Had a couple of days off this week, school holidays and stuff, so it's been great. Yeah, what about yourself? How's your week been?
Yeah, good. Like we got up for a coffee earlier this week on Tuesday, I think, when you said you had your days booked off. I was pretty jealous, but I can't complain about my week. I went for a bit of a drive for the last 2 days out to the wheat belt and seen the canola flowering, which
Nice.
is where I'm from out there. My parents were canola farmers as well,
Yeah.
so it's a bit of a get back out to home and see that. But went to Bunbury today. Had a coffee on the beach. It was freezing cold. It was raining, but can't complain about where work gets to take me.
Yeah, that's right. Being on the road, I like it, as opposed to being stuck in the office.
How's your week been?
Good. Couple of days off just to spend some time with the kids and prepare for today, because today's a big day, and we've got something a little bit different for our listeners today. You can probably gather by the title of the podcast, but we've got a first guest to the show. And this first guest is not just any old first guest. This person is someone that's been very influential in our collecting journey, and I guess as our growth as watch collectors and watch enthusiasts. So I'd like to welcome Jody from Just One More Watch.
Hello, gentlemen. Good evening. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you for inviting me. I am delighted to be here, delighted to have a chat with you two tonight.
We'd like to generally kick off with a bit of a wrist check. So as our guest today, Jody, what have you got in your wrist?
Am I up first? Well, I'm wearing, I've been wearing this most of the week. In fact, I've been wearing this most of the time since I got it last November. It's a watch that has kind of become my daily. It's a Citizen Chronomaster. So it's their Japanese JDM only Grand Seiko equivalent. So sensible, handmade washi paper dial, eco drive, perpetual calendar, high accuracy quartz. Never have to set it, never have to change the date. It's just always there, always at the right time, just like a watch should be.
Beautiful. Yeah, we actually chat a fair bit about Citizen. They're both in our wheelhouse at the moment. But that watch is stunning and can't beat quartz. Pick it up and go.
No, titanium, 80 grams, super comfortable. You know, we're all mad buying these expensive automatics that we have to service like cars, and we should just buy quartz because that's what the whole point of a watch is, isn't it? Isn't it?
It makes sense, doesn't it? It does make sense.
It kind of does when you put it in those terms, but yeah. And what do you guys wear?
So I'll go first with the talking stick. So in honor of today's episode, you were very influential in my microbrand space, and I've gone with a Zelos today. So I went with the Swordfish Nebula in the Nebula purple colorway. Zelos is the first micro I got into properly, and thanks to your reviews had a massive part in me being able to understand the company better and pull the trigger on a purchase there. But this is one of, I think, 6 that I've had so far. So bit of an addict, bit of a fanboy on the Zelos space. I do enjoy their work.
Yeah, I wish I had a small percentage of the business that I have sent that man over the last 4 years. He's done he's done so well. I mean, there's successful micro brands, and then there's Zelos. I think they're kind of at the very top. The demand for those things. So.
Yeah, I think, not only have you driven so much business there as well, it's also good at seeing someone like Elshan, behind the brand and interacting. I've joined the Timekeepers Facebook page after, having a chat with Justin, and you can just see, that interaction, and, that helps with brand retention, I think, definitely.
Yeah, he's the sort of the model micro brand owner. He's there, he's communicative, takes responsibility. If something goes wrong, he says, you just wait there, I'll send you a fresh watch and you return the old one. I mean, that's the ultimate customer service model. That's why dealing with a small company is so different from dealing with a big company. That's why micro brands have that advantage.
Sure. Yeah, he's out there with the people, like seeing him comment, like when people post up in the Timekeepers group that, they've got an issue. He's the first comment every time. Flick the email and I'll sort it out. And I haven't heard of a bad experience through that process yet, and I've been in that group, for numerous years now.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Praka? What are you wearing today?
Well, I've gone slightly different tack. It's still a watch that was influenced by some of your videos. It's the Oris Divers 65 40 mil glow edition. So yeah, it's what else can I say that what I haven't already said in the podcast before, and what you have not said about this watch? It's fantastic, right? It's a skin diver-esque watch. It's wears really well. I've got tiny wrists, so for me, 40 mil, just above 40 mil, is where my wheelhouse. It's sort of where it stops. And yeah, I've had a great wearing experience, and as usual, I've picked it up secondhand, slightly used, and I absolutely love it. I'm not sure whether I'll flip it like you will and, get a different version at some other point. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I've been through a few. I've actually got two in my collection at the moment. I bought another one. But anyway, that's another story. That is a beautiful version you have. Yeah, that's lovely. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yep. And definitely pairs well with different strap options as well. But since I've had it on the bracelet, I just can't take it off. The bracelet just wears so well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all about the bracelet.
That's it. All right. Well, look, now that we've got the wrist checks out of the way, I guess we'll get into it. Again, as we said in the start to our listeners, this episode is a little bit different. So mind with us. If we do sound a little bit awkward, we are learning the ropes, as so to speak. So really, we got a couple of questions for you, Jody, and we'll start off with something pretty easy, I guess. Is for all the listeners out there, which I highly doubt any of them don't know who you are, but if you could please tell us a bit about yourself, what you do, how you got here, please take it away.
Yeah, well, my name's Jody Musgrove. How I got here? Well, I'm in Sydney, Australia, but I don't sound like I'm from Sydney, Australia. I've been here for 20 years, came over from Scotland in 2003, so it was my 20th anniversary just a few months ago. Very proud and happy to call myself an Australian and to call Sydney home, even though, Sydney, you guys are on the other side of the country. You'd have something different to say, but it's not a bad place to live. I am Just One More Watch YouTube channel. I guess I started it in late 2016, made my first couple of videos then, officially rebranded as Just One More Watch in 2017. And I've been making 3 videos a week, every single week, for the last however many years that is, like 5-6 years.
Your consistency is just awesome, by the way. I think it really helps in my addiction to watch YouTube videos. So I appreciate that. And coming as an immigrant to this country myself, who've been here 21 years, I appreciate that. And yes, I'm a very proud Australian, but we do have I said the cultural upbringings from somewhere else. So it's cool to bring it in. Nice one. So Justin had a little bit more to say about this. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I've got no interesting background story. I'm just born in the wheat belt, country boy. Been here my whole life. Made the move to the big city, 200 k's away, and that's about as big as it got for me.
Yeah, well, certainly no Sydney, that's for sure. But yeah, so obviously your YouTube channel has grown exponentially over the last number of years. I'm assuming that this is your full-time gig, or am I wrong in saying that?
No, it is. It is now. It's been my main source of income, those lovely Google ads, for the last 3 or 4 years. But it is now. I was studying in the background of really the first 5 years of the channel, and it's only in the last 12 months that I've finished studying. So it is my full-time occupation now. I still work part-time. I work at Sydney Opera House. I've been in or around that place since 2006 in one capacity or another. I was a tour guide there and various other bits and pieces. Love the place, and I still go there. My wife's working there tonight. We kind of alternate. We got a night away from each other, a night away from the baby, and go and see some culture and some arts. But no, YouTube's now my main occupation. It is plan A.
And you're very lucky to call Sydney home. I've been there a few times. Love Sydney. It's gorgeous. I think I've got an auntie that lives in Mosman. Beautiful part of the world there. But I guess leaning into your answer there a little bit with the study. as someone who's got a full-time career myself and now starting to get into the content space, and I've done external study, how did you, you're a content machine. How did you find the balance there? Because I know what full-time study is like, even part-time study. I know what that's like, trying to juggle work and now this on top too.
Yeah, I don't know. The last 12 months, if you have the time, you fill the time. And I can't quite remember how I actually managed to do what I did, doing this full time and doing that full time. But I guess I worked 6 days a week. I would have a Sunday off. I would do like 3 days of YouTube, 3 days of study, and 1 day off. So it was pretty kind of full on schedule.
Yeah.
Now I've got a bit more time. I can put a bit more time and effort into the channel, into every video. But yeah, not a lot of free time, I think, was the answer to try and balance everything out. But
and to throw a child in there as well, that's a whole nother dynamic on top. That's crazy.
Yeah. Thankfully, the child arrived 10 days after I handed in my last piece of uni work. So yeah,
it was meant to be.
It was meant to be. I was told, you will not be handing this one in late. No extensions.
Yeah,
it has to happen, and it did happen. Which is,
I don't think 18-year extensions exist.
No,
that one.
no, you're right. They don't.
I haven't been brave enough to do that myself. Working full time, trying to get into this content creation game, and also having 2 kids. Not exactly brave for that yet, but maybe in a couple of years, we'll see. Kid been busy so far myself. Sort of leaning into, I guess, your YouTube channel. So this was something that happened, I know, a little while ago now. It honestly didn't feel like it that long ago. The whole hashtag Free Jody saga. I don't know who came up with the I don't know who came up with the hashtag, but I'm going to claim it on AAWF at least. So for listeners that don't know what that was, I'll quickly summarize it, and then you can expand on it a little bit more. But basically, YouTube deleted your channel out of the blue, is my understanding. And you were left with no answers, and you did get it back eventually, but must have been scary. How was that like?
Oh, it was terrifying. I was actually at uni. I was studying at Macquarie University, and this was in the middle of a lockdown, but we were allowed to, essential studies in inverted commas were allowed. So I'd sort of snuck into the campus, and I got an email about 5 o'clock, and it was 2 sentences, if that. It wasn't even a well-written email saying, basically, your channel has been deleted. There has been a claim made against it. Your channel's been deleted. Thanks very much. No name at the bottom of it, no reply address, no nothing. And I felt a little bit sick at that point, I must say, because it's so ephemeral. There's you're dealing with a huge big machine in Google, and there is not a lot of one-on-one support, and there are millions of channels, and it's easier for someone just to press the button to delete you and move on to the next one, because I'm sure they've got another 300 channels to assess or similar claims to assess before they go off on their lunch break. So yeah, that was a bit of a shock, but the support I got from the watch community was just incredible. I had other YouTubers on the phone within 10 minutes saying, hey, what's happened? I got a blank screen when I tried to watch one of your videos. I still had Instagram, thankfully, and I put out a few Instagram messages there, and people rattled YouTube's cage. And I'm not alone in this. There are plenty of other channels that have been deleted like that, and there were other watch channels that got deleted around the same time as mine. So there are various guides on YouTube, ironically, of how to get your channel back from guys who've done it. So I followed that. I filled in the forms, and I had been on a YouTube course, actually, organized by the sort of New South Wales Business Council. It's something I'd applied to do, and got on this course about a month prior. So I had a couple of contacts, and I don't know whether it was the rattling, the forms that I filled in, or a contact sending an email to the right person. But I went to bed that night thinking that my world had ended, and I woke up the next morning to an email saying that my channel was back up.
Yeah, and that was all from memory due to something about a counterfeit. Was that right?
Yeah, somebody had. Well, yeah, I think with a couple of years passing, I think it was an individual that put in a claim. There was talk at the time that I'd done a couple of fake real videos, and there was, was it Rolex? Was it Omega? Was it Swatch Group? But I think it was an individual who has done it to others since then. Yes, a rogue in amongst us. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring that up because recently I've moved on a Moonswatch, which luckily happened through Red Bar. But I tried to post it on Facebook Marketplace multiple times and end up getting a 4-day ban, or I don't know if it's 4 or more, but because I just kept getting the same message back every time. This is a counterfeit. We don't, supports the selling of counterfeit models. No matter what photos I put up, it came up as you've used the same photos as last time. You're done. Wow. And yeah, I copped the ban and couldn't put anything on Marketplace for 4 days to a week. But it's just crazy how they can just turn it off at the drop of a hat. No reasoning, just assumption.
But the big question is, did you manage to sell your Moonswatch?
I did, yeah. Someone in Red Bar picked it up.
Yep. Thank goodness somebody bought it. I'll sleep better tonight knowing that you no longer own one of those things.
Yeah, I mean, after the recent strawberry Moonswatch, we spent enough time on that last week. But yeah, good. Something's going on there. Something weird's going on there.
That wasn't a joke, that strawberry thing. That was actually real, was it?
Yeah, it was.
It was real.
They were trolling. My goodness. Yep. Okay,
that was all real. Right. Yeah, unfortunately, we definitely we spoke about that last week and said our displeasure. I was never a fan of the Moonswatch in the first place, but some of them I was okay with, but that was just taking the piss.
I was one of those idiots that queued up in the middle of Sydney, or at least I turned up to the middle of Sydney, hoping. I was like, yeah, fine, I'll get there, no problem. I'll buy one of these Moonswatches and I'll give it away. I already had the thumbnails made up. Yeah. And I got off the train. It's like, no. And they were queued round the corner. So I just went back to bed. But I bought one through Gumtree for 3 times the retail price in a petrol station in a servo car park at midnight on launch time.
Oh, no. That's
to
amazing.
Give it away because I wanted to give one away. So I paid $1,350 for a Moonswatch. Wow. It's not something I'm proud of.
You give me anxiety hearing those numbers around Moonswatch. Lord.
Yeah. I think
it is crazy.
Yeah, I think I saw some numbers like, close to 10K at some point on eBay, people trying to flip them. So, yeah, I mean,
I got off lightly in that case. I got a bargain.
It's extremely weird because I tried to purchase one previously when I think I went to Sydney. I think that was where it was. And yeah, same thing. They told me how rare it was, not understanding that I'm a collector and maybe spend some time in the hobby. Tell me how rare it is. You can't get a hold of them. And then when I was passing through Singapore back in March, I went in and asked them. They said, we've got hundreds of them. We got them sitting here. We got them out the back. We can go get them from the warehouse down the road, but they're here. There's no problem with it. And it's just this weird supply and demand that comes from certain areas based on who's driving it up where. It's just such a volatile market. I'm in no rush for the strawberry.
No, I'm in no rush to ever see one again. I have not sought to buy a second one.
Awesome. Good to hear. Look, I guess just circling back to the whole, saga, everything getting, losing this revenue stream. And I mean, obviously it was scary, but I mean, since then, that 2 years has passed. I'm sure you've had some learnings. And maybe start to do something differently. What have you done differently?
Well, you would think so, wouldn't you? You would think I had diversified and learnt my lesson, but I haven't really. All my eggs at the moment, anyway, are still very much in the YouTube basket. But I have not posted any fake VReal content since then, and I now have, a YouTube partner manager. I have a contact at YouTube, which is so nice. That's so reassuring. That if something happens again, I have somebody's email who I know will have my back in that situation. So that's a real kind of I sleep much better every night knowing that I have that.
Yeah, that's really good to hear. Especially like I said, there's any trolls or people that I assume it's some sort of pattern troll or someone along the lines who took you down.
Was somebody who was having a bit of fun one Sunday night, and decided that I was the object of their fun on a Sunday night. But no, I have something I've been planning to do and talking about for many, many years. I have spent the last 12 months working towards launching my own micro brand. So my own
amazing.
watch. Yeah. Been talking about it for a long time, but never really had the time or the inclination to make the steps to do it until now.
Yeah. That's awesome. That excites me. I'm sure you're bursting over that, hey?
Yeah, really, really looking forward to it. We've got, I've got a business partner. So a friend I met through Watches a couple of years ago, who is a proper businessman. Nice. He's got his own successful company. He's really good at sort of sales, logistics, warehousing, and dealing with suppliers. So that's all fantastic. And we got our third set of prototypes. We got 3 different factories to make up our design. So we got our watch designed by a professional who designs a lot of Zelos's library. So, a guy that knows what he's doing.
Yep.
And the first set of prototypes arrived back and they were okay. The second set arrived and they were good. And the third set arrived and they were fantastic. So we're really, really happy with it.
Yeah, I think I saw a sort of blurred out photo that you shared on Instagram.
Yeah, I did one of those cheeky pixelated photos on Instagram. I would love to show you this, but I can't. But you can sign up at justonemorewatch.com for the mailing list.
So it's on embargo.
Yeah. We've gone back to the factory again to get a second round of prototypes, a few tweaks. Your episode where you talked about feels and you talked about how the Samurai was a great looking watch and great specs, but wears like a beast. Well, we didn't want to make a watch that ticked all the boxes apart from wearability and comfort.
Yeah, so that I think I touched on the Samurai because I think I still have an indent in my hand from walking with the pram on that one. Nothing against the watch, like I loved the orange. That was one of my favorites at the time. But going back to your own brand, that's super exciting for a start. But so is this brand or this watch itself gonna? You have so much to do with so many different brands. Where are you drawing your influences from? Like, because you deal with so much coming through your channel. What's like the main few, if you can? Where do your influences come from?
Well, my friend and I, Stephen, my partner and I, we sat down and we were like, right, what are we making? And one of the best micro brands out there, I think, is Helm. I'm not sure if you have experienced Helm. Helm have a waiting list of between 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 per watch. They only make, I think it's still one guy. I haven't spoken to him in a while, a guy called Matt, and he makes about 150 of each model each month. So, you're on a waiting list for several years. We thought, well, we would love to have a little bit of that waiting list, please. So we haven't made another Helm, but we made a tool diver. It's watches that we really appreciate, we want to wear, and it's our first model. We haven't kind of reinvented the wheel in terms of design. We just wanted to make something that was super legible, really functional, no nonsense and tooly, but with all the right specs and, crucially for 2023, all the right colors.
I feel like big part of your channel, you wait to the end of the video and you hear the moans and niggles section, and you hear the similar moans and niggles from different brands. And I feel like this is the opportunity to squash those and make that perfect watch, which excites me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to do a moans and niggles section for my own watch, aren't I? Because people wouldn't expect anything less. So it's not going to be perfect. How could it be for the price you're charging? It's not going to have everything, but it'll have as much as you can get anywhere else. We've set the price at $299, which is like 5 years ago's price for a microband dive watch.
It's very fair.
And we're going to do as much as we can. Quick release spring bars, strap options for good prices, and an on-the-fly adjustable clasp. All the stuff that you really want in a watch, and something that wears really nicely on big wrists and smaller wrists as well, because we've thought about all the key dimensions to get it to wear properly.
Awesome, yeah. And is this something that you plan to expand on going into the future? Another release down the track eventually?
Yeah, absolutely. It's it's not just a one-off. I could have done that, I suppose, on my own a few years ago, and I've had offers from brands to do a kind of collab type thing. But no, this is a proper company to run, not as an alternative to Just One More Watch, of course, because that's still my baby, still my kind of passion and what I do every day. But definitely something I can run alongside that, and hopefully build up with new releases, different versions, and eventually have a library of micro brands, hopefully, that are available for purchase rather than out of stock permanently. There's a couple of different models in the industry and in the micro brand community, and I think we're going to try and be the one that you can actually buy when you want to.
Yeah, that's really good to hear. I mean, as micro brand and affordable enthusiasts ourselves, and I think sometimes you might see, this model is fantastic, let's go have a look. Oh, wait, they're out of stock forever, or they're just, out of business. Unfortunately, it does happen.
Yeah, it does happen.
But it's good to hear that, the plan is to carry on and have that as a bit of a add to the back catalog. Do you, well, I mean, are you able to tell us roughly when this launch might happen?
Well, if these first protos had been great, we were going to go for a late July launch, but I guess the cases are great. A few tweaks to the dial and the bracelet. Hopefully late September latest. That'll need to be we're kind of, we don't want to get in people's way at Christmas time. So late September is what we're aiming for.
Yeah, cool. And if there is an Aventurine dial variant, I'll do what I can to get on the front of the wait list.
Okay.
I've tried so hard to get Aventurine, but I've been unsuccessful every time so far.
Yeah, I think the Mark II will go down that route, but not quite at the Aventurine stage yet.
No,
we'll get people used to the brand first.
Maybe the purple dial then, yeah, as well.
There may be a purple. There may be a purple dial. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, for sure.
There we go. Awesome.
Well, yeah, congratulations on that. That's amazing news. And I've got a bit of an interesting question that it's always been in the back of my head because I've never been brave enough to do this myself. Homage watches, you're not shy of the homage space.
No.
And I've never purchased one myself, but it's always kind of been on my brain when in recent experience, I wanted to purchase a Wimbledon Rolex Datejust, and just the overinflated price in the secondhand market is what made me pull away from that. Does the homage watch scratch the itch? Because I think you've had homage watches come through where you now own a Tudor GMT. Yeah. How does that work? Yeah,
I've got a Black Bay 58. So that's my one Tudor. I got a Black Bay 58. But yeah, I've still got, I had a big clear out of some of my watches this week, but I kept some key pieces and I've still got a number. I've got my Pagani Speedmaster, the sort of mission to Alaska, Mars, Alaska thing with red and sapphire. Right. That's a great little watch. Actually wears better, I think, than the Speedmaster, and certainly costs a considerable amount less than the Speedmaster. And I love the sub, but I made my most popular video is I'll never buy a Rolex Submariner with 1 million views. It just went to the moon as soon as I released it. I'm not, because you're talking about it's controversial and Rolex in the same video. People love it. Always love the Submariner, but the prices are just insane. The wait lists are ridiculous. So I have the best homage of the Submariner that I've ever come across. I guess I launched the channel on the back of the controversy around the Genoa Ocean Rover, which was this kind of very nice mill sub homage that hit market a couple of years ago. So yeah, I've got no problem with them. It's a phase, it's a collecting phase, I think, that a lot of people go through and then move beyond when they perhaps are spending bigger money on watches. They have the various homages and they sell them on and roll that money into the real thing eventually. But for a lot of people who don't have the budgets but love the designs, that's their solution. They get something that isn't a fake. It's got a different brand name on the dial. And does anybody actually care?
That was where I was kind of leading down the road. Yeah. When is anyone questioning your homage at the cafe down the road? But it's interesting that your story's like that, because mine's very similar. I went in to buy a sub being completely unaware of the whole, how long the wait times were, and not even be able to get on the list. I got told you can't get on the list. You've got to buy something else first. And that's when the whole homage thing started playing onto my brain. Do I go that route? And that's how I ended up with the Tudor Black Bay Heritage. It gave me that same tool feel, dive feel, and it ticked the box for me. But I got no issues with the homage space. I was just always been curious as whether or not it scratches that itch long term, or does that person end up going to buy the Speedy down the line?
Well, I think if you ask Omega, the Moonswatch, the Speedy sales have never been better. So yeah, perhaps people spent their $380 and then thought, oh, this is nice. How much is one of those, please? And ended up buying the big one. So yeah, I think for some people, it's the end of the road. It's the maximum they'll ever spend on a watch because of commitments and because of everything else in their lives. And 12, 13. What's a sub these days? Australian? 14?
Oh yeah, 14. Somewhere near 15. Yeah.
I think it's 14 last week, 15 this week. Given how often Rolex ramp their prices up, it's a huge amount of money. I mean, my car's probably only worth that much money.
Yeah, that's what I joke about. My car I've had since high school. I've had one car since I was 17, 10 years, and it's worth less than my Tudor these days.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it is ironic.
Homages, right, bring in a lot of people into the brands as well. It's potential. Like, for example, I feel like Moonswatch was Omega's sort of answer to, well, we're probably losing some sales to, all these different homages that different brands are producing. Why don't we just make one ourselves and sell it and bring in that sort of young audience into the brand? And then eventually there might be the people, 10 years down the road that might be able to buy a Speedmaster or whatnot. Probably not retail though, because I feel like Omega retail prices are going a bit crazy as well at the moment.
Yeah, they're turning into Rolex. Well, they're trying to. I mean, they want to be Rolex, don't they? I mean,
True.
the next thing they do is they'll limit supply, and then they really will be Rolex.
Yeah, it's like I said before, volatile market. It's very interesting how it all just turns at the drop of a hat. But I guess on the back of chatting about Rolex, I wanted to ask yourself, where do you see the next step in watches as a whole? You get a lot comes across your desk. You get some more high end pieces come through as well from a friend. What do you think the next step is? Because we have so much color and so much innovation and stuff going on in the micro brand and the homage space. And I feel like the higher end of the scale is starting to, I don't want to say mimic, but maybe play on that a little bit. We've had the bubblegum Rolex, we've had the puzzle piece, the emoji, and now this strawberry atrocity. What do you think is the next pendulum swing here? Because we're also going smaller in case size as well.
You had Omega doing basically Seiko Save the Ocean dials on everything a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. So is that the big boys imitating the little boys because it's what sells? There's a market for it. George having a look at Studio Underdog and their strawberry dial watches and thinking that they can do the same. Yeah, maybe there's a bit of that. But I think in terms of price, things are only going to go up. I think big companies are just going to keep squeezing the prices, and those medium-sized Swiss companies are going to try and become luxury Swiss companies. You look at Oris, what Oris are doing, their prices have just gone up and up. They don't want to be affordable, entry-level Swiss anymore. They want to go up the scale. You look at what Christopher Ward have done in the 5-6 years that I've had the channel. They used to be $1,000 US. You could have your pick of the Christopher Wards, and now that'll barely get you an entry-level one. And they're doing those bel cantos. They're coming out with some really innovative. So that is, as you say, that's where the innovation is these days. It's these medium-sized companies that are taking the risks because they're more agile. The big Japanese brands move so slowly, and the big Swiss brands are the same. They're so conservative, I think, that innovation's been driven from the bottom.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail right on the head. I'm the biggest Seiko fanboy. I don't really try and hide that, but they stick to the back catalog. They don't really want to move forward as such, and it's really the micro brand space that's really trying to push that up. And obviously, you've got your independents, your ateliers, and all those types, which are to the common man, I don't think it's really achievable. But it is, like you said, the bel canto. It's good to see that micro brands are delving into these kinds of things, and hopefully regular people can get into these sort of new spaces.
Yeah, more kind of esoteric pieces than before. But I think a lot of the move towards color over the last couple of years has been, how do we sell someone another watch? Mm-hmm. Well, someone's looking in the box saying, all right, I've got blue, I've got black, I've got white, I've got silver, don't have a purple, here's my credit card. And what's next? It's, I don't have a minute repeater, I don't have, here's my credit card, don't have an affordable tourbillon, here's my credit card. So,
you don't need to attack me like that, Jody.
Sorry, Justin.
I think that was a two-pronged attack. Yeah, one for the color dials and one.
No, I'm doing the same. I look at my collection; it's a damn sight more colorful than it was 2 years ago. Yeah. I know you like purple as well, Praka. You've got a few, haven't you? Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. Same. We've both got purple dials, and
it's fun.
On the back of color, the case material as well. Like I'd never ever thought about anything but stainless steel before purchasing a bronze Zelos. I bought a Hammerhead 3 when they came out with the mop dial, and then once experiencing that whole process, went and had a look at the titanium as well, which just opened another door, which you'd start to see Rolex playing around with titanium as well now. And it makes me wonder what the track looks like 20 years away. Where is Christopher Ward in 20 years time? Where do they sit in the tier of luxury at this rate? Because the bel canto felt like such a big wave in the ocean there, and there were so many people talking about it.
Huge, huge. I get emails from people offering me watches. I mean, a really important part of my channel is people's loaner watches. I'm always so, amazed that, hey, how you doing? You've never met me. I'll send you my brand new watch. Just send it back when you're done. And I've been like offered so many Belcantos. Hi, I've got a Belcanto coming in March 2024. Would you like it? Like, well, maybe, but yeah, get back to me in February 2024. But people are prepared to put down large sums of money, I think, to get one of those in 12 months' time. So I think it's done a huge, that watch has changed Christopher Ward forever.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of, I guess, Christopher Ward, and, the huge wait list, I think that one of the bad things that's come out of the popularity of Christopher Ward is that the wait list on their watches just keeps growing, or the wait times, should I say. So Red Bar WA, which is our West Australian chapter of Red Bar, the watch community, they launched a collaboration with Christopher Ward, and I believe they had taken money and orders in January, and it's now July, and doesn't really look like there's any end in sight. And I think it was supposed to come in about 3 months, is my understanding, or what they were told initially. So obviously the popularity is maybe doing them a disservice to these sort of things. And there's one or two people that I've spoken to who, as much as they like Christopher Ward, they're going, I'm not sure if I, 7 months or 8 months, my money parked somewhere, and they're all watch collectors, watch enthusiasts. They get itchy. They want to go get something else instead.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. So
that's where I landed with the Christopher Ward. I was very on the fence with the was it the 12? Is that what it's called? I can't remember if it's the 11 or the 12.
Yeah, the 12.
The 12, yeah. I don't know why I thought the 11, but yeah, I was very on the fence with that, just because of the price, that that daunting figure with not being able to hold it in person first. Like that's my problem with the microspace, is taking that leap on something like the $500 to $700 that Zelos have kind of proposed over the past few years. That I find, for some reason, extremely easy to just move it on, get it done. But just that next leap to the 1,000 to 1,500, just don't know why. Just always been daunted by it.
Yeah, okay, but you'll happily spend much more than that on a bigger brand. So it's not the price; it's the price on a specific type of watch brand.
I think, it's that you're 100% correct, and it's just being able to see it in person. Like it's a big part of my my thing. Like I said earlier on in the show, like buying the Zelos really came down to that first one. I think it was the Hammerhead 2 that I purchased, and that came down to one of your videos, just going through the Zelos back catalogue, and you're vouching for the company, the QC, how Elshan is involved. That's how I ended up in that space. Yeah. And I'll hang my hat and say that was your doing there. You're the reason for the addiction.
Oops, sorry. Yeah, I have to apologize on a regular basis when I'm talking to people. Sorry about that. I hope I didn't cost you too much money, as my usual kind of. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it and didn't bankrupt you.
No, as you know, Zelos sells pretty quickly and keep their price.
Yeah, some of them actually go up in value, don't you? The Aventurine is really hard to come by, but that's another whole conversation, isn't it? The flippers getting into micros because of that limited release model.
Yeah, and Praka and I have had some conversations about that recently, especially in the Zelos Timekeepers group itself. That's been a huge conversation over there. The second launch, I think they're going to launch tomorrow night at 11 o'clock. And there is an Aventurine dial in that variant too. But every time, the day after launch is the whole, I'm not gelling with this piece posts, and then the giant prices come, and then the angry people come, and it feels like we're just going full circle. It feels kind of draining. Like I'm kind of over reading that sort of stuff at this point.
For sure. And I know that you've been dying for an Aventurine dial, so I hope for your sake you do get it if you do jump into it. But I don't know, at some point, like going down something like a helm, or what you guys are going to be doing, model of selling is probably the way to go. Or even Studio Underdog recently, they keep a window open and they say, as many people can purchase as they want, and then we'll close the window and we'll fulfill them. And that's the way to do it, and obviously just the more traditional way.
Couple of different ways. I guess both of them have pros and cons. The Zelos model obviously works very well for Zelos because there's a feeding frenzy around every single one of the launches. So he's not going to change his model. He's not going to go, I'm going to make 5,000 of each. Help yourself, because why would he?
No. It's interesting you say that, because they did the Zelos Timekeepers group with the, I don't know how to say it, Malachite dial.
Malachite, yep.
Malachite. They did that one, and he did a bigger release, and then there was all these angry people about how it's not actually selling out, and people are losing value based on how many numbers are left. It's just like how far can the pendulum swing the other way?
You genuinely cannot please all of the people all the time. So
No.
For sure. And, and that's probably what's going to happen, with your watch. And as much as, like you say, you've handled so many different watches, and you would think you'd know this is exactly what I want to put into a watch to try and give the people what they want.
Yes. Well, give them as much of what I think they want for the price that I think they're prepared to pay for it. So, then it'll be what's next after the diver. We want to do the Gada style. I love that kind of go anywhere, do anything.
Yep.
I've got my eyes on a 39mm Jubilee, slim as I can make it. But still sapphire, screw down crown, plenty of lume, and a bit of an all-rounder, but something super comfortable. Those are the watches I found. I used to be a diver guy, 100% diver guy, but I've kind of drifted towards the slightly not dressier, but just not quite as tooly as that for my kind of days. Still love divers, still have plenty of divers in my collection, but I've got plenty of my Gada collection is kind of on balance now with the number of divers I've got. So I can see where I've gone over the last few years myself.
Yeah, I got a bit of a split as well. The Gada types, the Tissot Gentleman, Powermatic, and Astor Banks as well. Astor Banks Fortitude, which is a micro brand, also like a Gada style. And really, always looking at the Aquaterra, maybe one day.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a nice sort of Gada watch as well. So, and I'm pretty sure that's still in your collection.
It is. I mean, I can only get rid of the Aquaterra if I get rid of my wife first.
Yes,
so
of course.
That's not. That's
never going to happen.
That's not going to happen. If it does happen, the watch will be the least of my worries. So, yeah.
All right, we might move on to a part of our show where we talk about something interesting that's happened to us in the last week. So, I might kick it off with a bit of an interesting story that I had this week. So, I sold a Seiko tuner solar in the all grey variant over Facebook Marketplace. So I put it up for $150. Just kind of moving it out to move something else in to the collection next couple of weeks. And I had a gentleman on Facebook message me and say, I've got a good deal for you here. It's going to be worth more on your end, blah, 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 blah. And he kind of goes, I've got an Xbox 360 from 2010, 2 controllers. It comes with GTA 5. That's a rare game to find on that console these days. It's HDMI. It's not the 3-plug AV system. And when I said no, to him, he threw in a few more games. So he wanted Call of Duty in there as well. He just relentless in trying to get that watch. And actually, I looked it up on Facebook Marketplace myself and found it for sale for $1,500 is what he had it up for on the local marketplace. And I was just blown away. That's my interesting part for the week.
Well, it wasn't a Hyundai XL or something this time, because I know you've had a few funny offers.
Facebook Marketplace is a wild place. I've had a car. I've had MacBook Pros offered. It's so bicycles as well. Crazy.
What about yourself, Jody? Anything interesting that you've seen this week?
This week, I started the week with 30 more watches than I end the week. Because I can say I sold 30 watches this week and I've still got an enormous watch collection. I came in, I've been trying to clean up my studio room, end of financial year. So I spent a bit of money, got some new monitors, and I thought, right, let's clean up. And I had nowhere to clean up to. All of my watch boxes were full. And I've got a 20, a 20, a 12, 2 10s and a 10. And they were all full. Plus I've got cupboards, those IKEA cubes. I've just was stuffed with boxes. And I was like, right. And I put my first post on a Facebook group, 24 watches in 24 hours must sell. And I sold, I put them in batches of 4, and I did. I sold 27 watches within 24 hours.
Amazing.
Just clear out some watches. And I will probably buy another 24 watches before the end of the year. But hey, there'll be different watches and I'll make videos about them. So yeah, that's been my week. I haven't actually made a lot of content this week because I was filling in those Australia post bags and dragging them to my local post office.
That's like half a job itself, eh?
Yeah. Fortunately, it is on the same street. I live at I live at one end of the street and the post office is at the other end of the street. So it's not too far.
Perfect.
Yeah, by the time you're ready to ship out your own watch brand, you're going to need a PA at this rate.
Well, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
What about
Awesome.
yourself, Praka? What have you heard anything interesting this week?
Yeah, this week looking at some purchases and what I want to do going forward, and I was really looking at some chronographs and I was looking at some vintage chronographs. This is so I have a lot of vintage watches, so I always seem to buy them, enjoy them, flip them, buy them, enjoy them, flip them. Currently, I've got 2 vintage Seikos, but yeah, so I was looking at some, some 6138, 6139s. I'm not sure if you know what they are, Jody, but they're just
No, the chronos
Correct.
are they Pogue types, or
Yeah,
that's about as far as I go with vintage chronos.
similar. Yeah, so they got like flybacks and
Okay.
they got many different. They're all sort of fetch around your $2,000, and yeah, quite a bit, and they still, and some of them in really shocking conditions as well, and they still fetch a lot of money, between $1,000 to $2,000. So I guess I was also just looking at just scrolling through eBay, and I thought I found a mega deal, and I said, yeah, sweet, awesome, looks pretty good. $500-$600 for this. It looks in great condition. I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna, I think I'm really gonna put in a bid. I scrolled down and then I saw the location of where the watch was located, where it was held from, and unfortunately it was one of those fakos, so to speak, or the Mumbai specials.
eBay's riddled with them.
Yeah, and I got disappointed, and back to square one. So yeah, I still haven't found my vintage chronograph deal, but yeah, I'll keep looking.
Again, the eBay specials, the Mumbai specials, are another rite of passage. We've all done it. We have all seen that purple dialed Seiko from the 1970s for $25.
Yeah,
Usually after a few adult beverages, and then it arrives and it goes in a drawer or it goes on Marketplace or something. But I got into those little HMTs at one point. They were $12.
Yep.
Gave one to a friend. He wore it for 2 years.
Wow.
And he said he got so many compliments on it.
Yeah.
He runs a restaurant, and people were like, oh, that's a nice watch. It was a little red thing. He wore it for 2 years before it died. So it lived on. It had a life in its native country, and it had a life over here as well as an emigre. And now it's in the bin.
That's fantastic. This HMT is actually really interesting. They got a good history. The thing is, Citizen Group set up factories back in the 70s and 60s, and they sort of collaborated, I think, with the Indian government to help get HMT started. And they do have some pretty decent history, and some of them, like you say, are sort of Frankenstein ones, but I believe the company still operates the HMT in some way, shape or form. And it's still selling watches for maybe about $100 nowadays instead, like if you get it through officially. But you do need to be in India, I think, to purchase them, or get someone or find someone in India to purchase them.
Yeah, but nice little watches for $10. It doesn't matter if it's made of 3 or 4 different watches. It really doesn't matter at all.
And that's our favorite part of the hobby. We touch base on this nearly every week. Is there's something for everyone out there at most price points. It's the best part. They all tell the same time. Best part of the hobby.
They certainly do. They certainly do. I looked at a bunch of Tudors last week. Average price was about $5.5 grand, and I looked at a Casio at 35 Aussie dollars that did so much more than all of the Tudors. Yeah, for less than a percentage point of the cost.
It's all perspective, isn't it? All perspective.
It is indeed.
It is indeed. There's beauty in the eye of the beholder. Well,
yeah, beautiful. Well, we might wrap it up from here. So, I want to say a big thanks for coming on, Jody. Really appreciate it. Would you like to plug your Instagram and socials?
Oh, yes, please. YouTube? Thank you very much. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for the invite. Thank you very much for having me, and a real honor to be your first guest. I hope you have many more, because it's been good fun chatting to you. But you can follow my YouTube. You can become a subscriber of my YouTube channel if you are not already, at Just One More Watch on YouTube. I'm on Instagram at Just One More Watch, and oddly enough, I have a website, justonemorewatch.com. Also, it's not much of a website at the moment. It's a web page, I think, would be more accurate. But there is a little box where you can sign up, and you will be hearing about my micro brand sooner rather than later. I've been gathering names for years, and nobody's had an email from me, but there's going to be some emails sent. Don't you worry. There'll be plenty of emails coming up over the next couple of months. So,
oh yeah, we're looking forward to that. And I'm also looking forward to knowing what the name of the watch is. It's gonna be a bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. And look, I just want to ask all our listeners to, give us a follow and give us 5 stars in Spotify as well. And look, we're looking to also publish the podcast in various different platforms when we figure out how to do that. And again, thank you so much, Jody, for joining us. And we will sign out there. Have a good week, fellas.
Thanks, lads.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on OverTime, the podcast. We hope you enjoyed this episode.
You can find us on our Instagrams at OverTime, the podcast, at Kinda Average Watches, and at Horology Capture.
We appreciate your support and value your feedback. If you have any questions, suggestions, or topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes, please hit us up. We would love to hear from you.
Until next time.